the skate of Kachuk in front. Patterson scores! Drake Patterson ties it. Bedard shoots with a left hand score. Brady Kachuk taps it in. With Stutzla scores. Safety first. Out in front. Stop. Back the other way, in on the clear and scores. End to end. Oh! Drake Batherson wins it in overtime. Brady Kachuk, breakaway shoots, scores!
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon and I am your host. Ottawa tonight took on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Battle of Ontario in game number 2 of the regular season, and this is like 10 minutes after the game ended, and you can read the title, you can see the thumbnail. That was an interesting game. Oh my God. Oh, it's only game number 2, Brandon. It's only game number 2. Let's just settle down. Let's calm down. Let's just get into the recap, and we'll talk about the game after. But oh my God. If that's... Anyways, we'll talk about it in like 5 to 10 minutes. Let's just get through the game recap. Let's get through the game notes and explain what happened. This morning at Toronto's practice, Matt Murray tweaked his groin. He's injured again. Another tough break for the goaltender, and he will be put on long-term injury reserve. He'll be out for a minimum of 4 weeks with the groin injury. A tough break. You hate to see it. Wishing him nothing but the best. And, you know, that's what happens when you gamble on an injury-prone goalie. They're likely going to get injured again. So hopefully Murray comes back soon. You hate to see that, but just a really tough break for Toronto. But for the rest of the notes, Ilya Samsonov, of course, starts for Toronto now. Matt Murray was projected to start, of course, against his former team. Would have been a huge game for him to rebound, especially after that terrible loss against Montreal the other day. But it's not meant to be. He's out. So Samsonov starts. And for Ottawa, of course, is Anton Forsberg. As well, Nick Holden, he was out for tonight's game for whatever reason. We didn't really hear if it was a healthy scratch or an injury. We don't know. Don't quite understand it if it was a healthy scratch, but if he's injured, it makes sense why Zaitsev was in. So Zaitsev's in, Holden is out. But other than that, the lineup stays the same. But once again, if Holden was out as a healthy scratch, I really have to scratch my head, no pun intended, but I have to scratch my head about that because I don't understand why Zaitsev would draw in over Holden unless there's an injury. As well, before we get into the actual game itself, I want to mention this. Elliot Freeman of Sportsnet during the second intermission really gave an important update on the Jacob Chychrun talks between Ottawa and Arizona. He said, quote unquote, there's no path between Ottawa and Arizona for a Jacob Chychrun trade, and this just makes sense. I mean, Arizona has not budged whatsoever since the sweepstakes begun. I mean, they've asked for 2 first-round picks plus a top prospect plus more. They're asking for multiple top assets. Ottawa obviously is not trying to give that up, which makes sense, and that is why Ottawa and Arizona are likely not going to connect on a trade here, which of course probably disappoints Jacob Chychrun. He requested a trade. He's from Carp, I believe. He's from Ottawa. He wants to be here as an Ottawa Senator, but it looks like as of right now, it's not meant to be. Hopefully later on in the season, the price will drop, and then maybe Ottawa and Arizona will make a trade. Now let's get into tonight's game, Ottawa versus Toronto. And in the first 10 minutes, I mean, you know, the first half of the first period it was Toronto, and then the second half of the first period it was Ottawa. It's kind of funny how it flipped. But in the first 10 minutes of the first period of play, Toronto was dominating the Senators. And, you know, Ottawa was doing a good job of pushing the Leafs towards the boards and out, you know, not giving them prime opportunities, but they were dominating puck possession. But that changed when Ottawa got a power play, and on this power play, it was the first of many. The first Senator goal, and the first point, the first power play goal, and the first point for another guy, the first of many, as Claude Giroux slid the puck over to Shane Pinto for his first ever power play goal in the NHL. 1-0 Senators, as Claude Giroux gets his first point as an Ottawa Senator, and Jake Sanderson gets his first point in the National Hockey League as the Senators get their first goal of the game. It's 1-0 Senators. What a goal here. Nice pass from Claude Giroux. And Shane Pinto puts it home to give Ottawa the 1-0 lead. Also, congratulations to Jake Sanderson getting your first NHL point. He's looked good again tonight. And on the power play especially, he looked solid on that second unit. But we move on now, 8 minutes later, with about a few minutes to go in the first period of play. Anton Forsberg gets caught behind his net. Mark Haselick saves the day, clears the puck out front. Toronto almost tied it there in the last few minutes. Ottawa does have issues with the goal in the last few minutes in the second period, but for now, Ottawa leaves the first period up by a goal. It's 1-0 Senators. Some first period notes. Shane Pinto looked really good in that period, and of course getting that goal, but overall looked much better, especially after a disastrous first game in my opinion. I really called out the bottom six in the last recap, but tonight I really think the bottom six played well, especially in that first period. Mark Haselick was generating some offense as well, so I really like the play of the bottom six. Brandstrom as well continues to really impress, looking really, really comfortable in the neutral zone, making some nice moves. And overall, after a tough start, Ottawa really recovered. So good period so far, just like in game number one, the Senators started off strong, but this is where things really started to change. Going to the second period now, Ottawa takes a penalty, but they go and kill it. It's 5-for-5 now. Ottawa is on to the penalty kill. Toronto can't score there. And as you can see on the screen here, ridiculous call on Tim Stützle. I mean, I don't know how that's a hook, but it is apparently. But luckily, Ottawa kills off the penalty. Unfortunately, though, the rest of the second period is not much going on, really. Very structured defensive hockey from both teams and both goaltenders. Whenever Ottawa or Toronto are getting odd man rushes or breaks, the goaltenders are making some fantastic stops. I mean, Ilya Samsonov was playing absolutely insane, and Anton Forsberg was making a bunch of big glove stops. So both goaltenders were playing very, very well. But with 15 seconds left in the second period of play, Kampf boxes out Chabot and ties it at 1-1. Chabot has to box out Kampf here. He has to lift his stick. He can't let Kampf get that open there for that pass. It's a weak goal in Chabot. It's a tough one for Forsberg as it goes 5-0 on the tip. 1-1 game after 40 minutes of play. And that's a really, really bad one for Ottawa to give up. It's a backbreaker, frankly. It's a really, really bad one. You never want to give up a goal in the last couple minutes, let alone the last 30 seconds of the period. Ottawa does it here, and that kind of kills them, frankly, because in the third period of play, they really did not play well. And I just want to mention this for my second period notes. I don't understand why Tyler Mott is starting over Matthew Joseph on the power play. I don't understand it. I like Tyler Mott as the player, but he's much more of a defensive specialist. Matthew Joseph brings much more versatility to the power play. I would love to see him on that second unit for sure. Hopefully for game number 3, the home opener on Tuesday, we see Joseph there. I don't understand why Mott's there on the power play. Or in the last minute, by the way, Mott was out there too. I just don't understand it. Mott's a fine player, but he's not an offensive generator. I don't know why he's out there. I also want to mention that second period, Ottawa did look good for the most part. Like I said, they got some odd man rushes here and there, and those were usually from DeBrincat and Giroux. They had some solid periods there. But we go to the third period now, and with 8 minutes left, Ottawa takes a penalty. Inexcusable interference call here on Parker Kelly. You can see it on the screen. Unbelievable. And the Leafs capitalize. Norris gets stripped off the puck on the boards. The Senators can't recover. Nylander rips the glove side, and the Leafs take the lead. It's 2-1. Suddenly, Ottawa, with 10 minutes left, is down by a goal. But a couple minutes later, Samsonov cannot handle a Thomas Chabot shot. Claude Giroux puts it home. We are tied. It's 2-2, baby. Look at that elite sally from Claude Giroux. It's his first as an Ottawa Senator, and the Senators tie it up. They're showing life. They're showing passion. The Senators even it up. It's 2-2. But wait, a couple of minutes later, and if you're a Leaf fan watching this, you're probably enjoying what I'm about to say. With a couple of minutes later, Ottawa gives up another one. It's inexcusable here from Brandstrom and Chabot. They lose the man out front, and Hall jams it in. It's 3-2 Leafs. I can't believe it. Ottawa, they play a solid, structured defensive game for 55 minutes, okay? They tie the game in a dramatic fashion after giving up a goal late to tie it at 2, okay? They tie it there, and then they give up a goal a couple minutes later, and I just don't understand it. I mean, how does this happen? Your top defenseman making $8 million a year leaves Hall right up front. Brandstrom doesn't do any better either there. And the Senators are down by a goal again. It's 3-2 Leafs. And that will do it. The Leafs win this one 3-2 over Ottawa. Ottawa's now 0-2 to start the regular season. They lost back-to-back games to Atlantic Division teams. Just a terrible start for Ottawa. And I'm a little concerned. They've only scored 2 goals in 2 games. So if I'm the coach, if I'm DJ Smith, I'm going to say this right now. I want to see Josh Norris and Tim Stützle switch. I don't think there's chemistry there. I think Giroux and DeBrincat have been playing well, but they need a much more dynamic center like Stützle to help them generate more offense. Norris just looks out of place there, in my opinion. And I think Norris already has that chemistry with Batherson and Tkachuk, so just flip the centers. But yeah, I'm a little concerned, honestly. I mean, not that the team's not going to do well this year, it's only 2 games in, but about the offense. I mean, if we don't see changes soon, it's not a good start so far. 2 goals for a team that should be generating offense. Not a good start for the Sounders. And they're not playing against world beater goaltenders. I mean, no offense to Craig Anderson or Ilya Samsonov, but Anderson is a veteran goalie. He's older. He really stifled the Sounders a lot on Thursday. And then tonight, Samsonov, I get it. He's trying to bounce back after a rough year in Washington. He's a young goaltender, but I mean, this is a game where Ottawa's offense should shine, and they just can't seem to put it in the back of the net. Luckily, it's only a couple games in, and a couple of changes here, like the center switch can really help things, but tough start for Ottawa's offense. And defensively, like I said, just a wasted effort here, because I mean, the first 55 minutes, Ottawa was really playing well structurally, defensively, and then the last few minutes, they just give it up. And especially on that last goal for Toronto from Hall, Chabot and Brandstrom just kind of give up on the play. I don't know what the hell they're doing there. They kind of let the guy on the left side walk right in. Hall walks through the middle. Chabot and Brandstrom both lose their man. I don't know what the hell they're doing there. And Ottawa loses to Toronto. And you're probably expecting, or you probably were expecting me to rant. It's way too early in the season to rant, but I mean, that was a roller coaster. And I mean, this is fresh. I'm literally recording this 15 minutes after the game is done. Kind of rambling here now, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just at a loss of words. I don't know how you can have such a dramatic swing where you tie the game and then 2 minutes later you just give it up and look like you're already down to begin with. It's just, I don't get it. There needs to be adjustments with the forward core. And you're just kind of leaving Anton Forsberg out to dry again. I mean, this guy's making save after save after save, and these 3 goals that he gave up, the Nylander goal, glove side, top shelf, no chance. The 3rd goal for the Leafs from Hall, I mean, cover your man out front. What do you want Forsberg to do there? And then on the first one, insane tip that Chabot didn't stop. So Forsberg, once again, just kind of get left out to dry again. And for Ottawa, their offense isn't doing much. Defensively, I mean, it's the same story every single time, really. You lose your man out front, goal for the other team. So it's the same story as last year. I don't know if that's on the coach. I'm not calling for him to be fired. I've seen a lot of comments like that. It's way too early to call for DJ Smith to be fired, but things need to change, especially before the home opener on Tuesday against Boston. I mean, you've lost 2 games now to Atlantic Division rivals, Buffalo and Toronto. These are games you need to win or at least get some points. I know it's early in the year, but as we are closer to the playoff time in March and April, these are games we're going to look back at. We need to win on Tuesday against Boston. We have to. It's a sold-out game. It's the home opener. The crowd's going to be crazy. That is a must win because you don't want to go 0-3. Then you're going to start really having some questions here, and I'm sure the confidence in the locker room will take a hit. So, tough loss, inexcusable last few minutes. I don't know why Mott's out there with the empty net with 2 minutes left. I don't know what the hell that's about. I don't know why DeBrincat's not out in the last minute or so either. He was out there for the last 40 seconds, but for 2 minutes he wasn't out there with the empty net. I don't know what some of these decisions are, and it just looks like the Senators are disjointed right now. So I don't think Ottawa is screwed. I don't think the season's done. I don't think any of that. I think there's a lot still to be optimistic about, but there are some questions now, and they need to be addressed, and we'll see what happens on Tuesday. The bottom 6 looked much better, but the top 6, I mean, you had some guys that had good games, like DeBrincat and Giroux, but you need to switch Stützle and Norris once again because the chemistry is just not there, and honestly, we need to see some results now because it's so important, like we've been saying all offseason for Ottawa, that they had a good start, and we started the season now 2 losses in a row, so we kind of want to stop that. So if I was DJ Smith, Norris and Stützle switch, and you were just going to see what happens with that. But, we'll see what happens. I just can't believe that happened. I just cannot believe we lost that game in the way we did. I mean, Samsonov played a solid game. It's a bounce-back year for him. I get it, but man, you can't play so defensively flawed in the last few minutes in a tied game in the Battle of Ontario in your rival's barn. It's just unbelievable with the experience the Sanders have on that team, and Giroux and Chabot, and these guys, you got to do better, have to play better. So we'll see what happens on Tuesday against the Boston Bruins in the home opener. But besides that, let's get to the Sens Stock Star of the Night, voted by you, the fans. The Sens Stock Star of the Night, voted by you, the fans, is as follows. In 4th place, with 11% of the vote, Shane Pinto with a goal tonight. In 3rd place, with 22% of the vote, Jake Sanderson. I think he had a solid game, first NHL point. Overall, just defensively structured, very calm, cool, and collected. He looks like a stud out there, like a pro. It's his 2nd pro game, and he looks like a 500-game veteran. He's so good, and he does all the little things so well. He's such a good prospect, and he's going to only get better. Second place, 25% of the vote, Claude Giroux, goal and assist tonight. His best game is an Ottawa Senator, no doubt. And the first star with 42% of the vote, overwhelming majority, is Anton Forsberg, again with a fantastic game. 233 votes total. Anton Forsberg runs away with it with the Sens Talk Star of the Night honor. So congratulations to Anton Forsberg. Unfortunately, it's in a losing effort once again as Ottawa falls to the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2. They fall to 0-2 on the regular season. And on Tuesday against the Boston Bruins at home in the home opener, they look to get their first win of the season. But that's it for today's video. It's a long one already as is, so I'm going to cut it here. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts after today's loss? How are we feeling? How do we feel about the projection of the team moving forward? Do we have to switch the forward core as Norris and Stützle should switch? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. As usual, I'm really looking forward to reading and commenting and responding as usual down below. Besides that, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. I'll see you in the next one. Go Sens, go.